buttons.
There are nice soft touch plastics around the top of the dash, a chunky steering wheel and a driving position framed by the door panels and this centre console bracket.
But what are the things that make the Tourer better than the hatchback? Well, all the improvements start from here backwards.
Firstly, there's no rear spoiler across the back window. In the hatch, this is part of the rear light cluster, but all it does is completely restrict rear visibility.
The second reason is the boot. It is quite frankly enormous.
When the Civic concept was first launched at the 2013 Geneva Motor Show, Honda said they wanted it to have class-leading boot space. That's all fine and good, but at the same time, Volkswagen unveiled the Mark 7 Golf Estate with a whopping 605-litre boot. Honda's managed to beat that with a 624-litre boot.
You can fold the rear seats completely flat, and this expands the capacity to 1,668 litres. It is a van.
The big boot capacity is achieved in part by the extended body length by 235mm, but Honda's also kept the fuel tank position under the front seats and the torsion beam rear suspension from the hatchback. This suspension takes up less space but compromises comfort and performance. However, Honda's acted on this by introducing a rear adaptive damper system with 3 settings: comfort, normal and dynamic. But does it make a big enough difference when driving?
In short, not very much. You're supposed to be able to adapt the rear suspension to the driving environment, but in comfort mode, when you hit a bump, it bounces afterwards, and in dynamic mode, it's just too firm. At all times, there's quite a lot of noise from the suspension as well. It's very crashy and very bangy.
It's certainly not as refined as a Volkswagen Golf Estate, and you've got to remember the adaptive dampers are only available on the 2 higher spec models.
So what about the engines?
Well, there are 2 choices. There's a 1.8 petrol or this 1.6 diesel rear driving. For a small diesel engine, there's actually a good spread of power.
There's quite a lot of low down grunt, and in 4th and 5th gear the engine feels flexible. The only problem is it's noisy and noisy at all times, and it gets even worse when you're accelerating hard.
But that said, it should be efficient. It's got claims of 74 miles to the gallon and 99 grams per kilometre of CO2 emissions. We'll have to wait until we get it in our labs to test these claims.
In terms of the handling, it's pretty much the same as the hatchback. Because the wheel